You know what's wild? Every time management system out there is designed for brains that can estimate how long things take, which is hilarious if you have ADHD, because we're over here thinking like, this will take 20 minutes and 3 hours later, we're still not done. Or we avoid tasks for weeks thinking it'll be awful and it literally takes 5 minutes. So time blindness isn't a character flaw. And every single time I have talked about this topic, it is a hot one because it's a neurological reality. And no amount of planners, time blocking, or just get organized is going to fix it. So today we're going to talk about what actually does. And that's exactly what you need. So it's not what the productivity gurus are selling you. That's why I'm here. Let's dive into it. All right, let me guess. You tried it, right? Pomodoro technique, time blocking, calendar color coding, getting up at 5 a.m., productivity app everyone swears by, digital detoxes, bullet journaling, and the 2-minute rule. And for about 3 days, you felt like you finally cracked the code. You were productive and you were on top of things. You were that entrepreneur. And then life happened, or your brain got bored, or the system required too much maintenance, and suddenly you're back to scrambling, missing those deadlines, feeling like you're constantly behind. Look, I get it. And a lot of these things are effective if you customize them to your ADHD. But the truth is, nobody tells you that traditional time management assumes you have the consistent relationship with time, that you can accurately predict how long things are going to take, that you can maintain focus on demand, that motivation is a choice. And for ADHD brains, none of that is true. We experience time differently. So some days an hour feels like 10 minutes, and on other days, 10 minutes feels like eternity. When we really hyper-focus on the wrong things and can't focus on the right things, we're either all in or completely checked out. And every time management system out there acts like this, right? This is a personal failing that you need to fix. But I really want to talk about, the stories that we tell ourselves about time management. If I just found the right system, or, we keep thinking that some perfect planner or app or method out there will finally make our brains work normally. So we keep trying new systems, convinced that this one will be different. But the truth is your brain isn't broken. The systems are wrong for your brain. And so that thought that you have, like, I'm just lazy, when you can't stick to a schedule or you're procrastinating on important tasks, it's so easy to internalize that as laziness, especially when neurotypical people make it look effortless. And ADHD is not laziness. It's a dopamine regulation issue. Your brain literally cannot generate motivation the same way. And beating yourself up about it just makes everything harder. That I should be able to do this trap that you put yourself through when you see other entrepreneurs crushing it with their morning routines, or their stories are full of went to the gym, got my content out, taking the rest of the day off, right? And you kind of have that feeling like, why can't I just do that? You physically cannot. And it's because your brain works differently. And trying to force neurotypical time management into, what will work for you and onto your ADHD brain is like trying to use, Windows software on a Mac. It's not going to work no matter how hard you try. So I really want to talk about the garbage productivity culture has fed us, because the time blocking will save you. I call it a myth. And I will say I have found a certain type of time blocking that works for me, but for years, I've spent a ton of money hiring business coaches, and every business coach would tell me to time block my calendar from 9 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 1. And I did it and I made it work, but I was so exhausted mentally and physically, because ADHD brains, we experience time totally different. We don't experience in these neat little blocks. We hyper-focus for 3 hours, or we can't focus for 3 minutes. Like, there is no in between. And so time blocking assumes that you can control your attention. And we often can't. And pretending you can just sets you up for failure. The early bird gets the worm, right? That bullshit. Productivity culture is obsessed with morning routines. Waking up at 5 a.m., meditate, journaling, exercising, meal prep. And I did it, bought the book, did all of it. Did I feel better after it was completed? Yes. Did I spend more time trying to get myself into that morning routine than actually doing that morning routine? Yes. Most ADHD brains just don't fully wake up that way. Our peak productivity might be at 9 p.m. And forcing yourself into this like morning person box when you're naturally a night owl isn't discipline. It is legitimately self-sabotage. Like I started losing hair from the amount of stress, not even kidding. And so the more planning equals more productive, that is a trap for us. We're told to plan everything, plan your week, plan your day, plan your hour, and preparation and being proactive 1000%, but it's not going to look like everyone else's. And so we often will plan to plan to plan to plan and never execute, spending more time in the planning than the doing. And we make these beautiful plans that we never follow through with because planning feels productive, but it's not the same as executing. And the more complex the plan, the more likely we are to abandon it the moment something unexpected happens. And so that breakthrough moment for me was realizing I don't need to manage time. I need to manage energy and attention. So time is going to pass whether I use it well or not. But my energy and my attention, those are actually under my control. So when I work with my brain instead of against it, I stop asking, how do I fit everything into my own schedule and start asking, what does my brain actually need to function? That's when everything will change. Because once you stop trying to fix your ADHD and start designing your business around how your brain actually works, time management stops being a constant battle. So what actually works for ADHD time management? I want to give you like a real framework here. Okay. One, energy management over time management. Stop organizing your day by time. Organize it by energy. So you probably have 2 to 3 hours of high functioning time per day when your brain is really capable of complex work. That's it. Maybe it's morning, maybe it's night, maybe it's change, whatever that looks like. But your only job is to protect those hours for the most important revenue generating tasks for your business. Everything else can happen in low energy windows or not at all. So for the next week, really notice when your brain feels sharpest. Don't try to change it, just observe. And then schedule your most important work during those natural energy peaks. The second thing here is the to-list system. So forget those complex task management systems. You need 2 lists. Must do today list. This one has 1 task, maybe 2 if you're feeling ambitious. These are tasks that directly move your business forward. And then a can do today list. Everything goes here. You'll do these if you have the energy, if you have the attention left over, but they're not priority. ADHD brains do much better with what's the one most important thing. And then here's 47 other things you might do today. So right now, write down the one task that would make today a success. Do that first. Everything else is optional. Okay. Strategy 3, time anchors. So instead of time blocks, do time anchors. No rigid schedules, use flexible anchors. These are activities that help naturally and can trigger work sessions. So for example, after a morning coffee, I might work on client projects, not 9 to 11. The difference is time anchors work with your natural rhythm. Time blocks fight against it. And so look for 2 to 3 activities you do consistently. Coffee, lunch, evening walk. Attach those to important tasks so that they're anchored in instead of very specific times. So there are tons and tons and tons of strategies, and I'll be talking about this even more on IG. So make sure you're following on Instagram. But this is the work that I do every single day in my membership, Focused and Free. So these are those daily trainings that you get because you have to know your brain and have enough clarity around how it operates in order to really work with it. In order to really work with it, you have to understand this. And so if you're always late, stop estimating time. Double or triple whatever you think something will take. Okay. You're probably just being optimistic. If you forget everything, voice memos immediately. The moment you think of something, record it. Don't trust yourself to remember. So there's a lot of little rapid fire tips that I give every single day inside Focused and Free. And then I'm going to be really deep diving on my system called Flow First Thinking in my new book, which I'm so excited about. It's coming out later this year. So I will make sure in the show notes, I have information on Flow First Thinking. You can get on the wait list so you're first to know when it comes out. So excited about this book, you guys. I am smiling ear to ear just saying it out loud. And also the membership, because I do daily trainings in there and there's only so much I can pack into one podcast episode, but you have to have that accountability as well. So I could sit here and rattle off all of my strategies to you and then you will absolutely do nothing with them because you're going to be overwhelmed. So the time management industry has gaslit ADHD entrepreneurs into thinking we're the problem. And we're not. We need systems designed for brains that experience time, energy, and attention totally different. And once you stop forcing neurotypical productivity methods onto your brain, everything gets easier. You don't need to manage time better. You need to work with your brain better. So before you go, pick one strategy from this episode and implement it this week. Just one. Screenshot it. Send it to me on IG at socially.awesome. Don't try to overhaul your entire system. That is a trap. One small change that works with your brain is worth more than 10 perfect systems you'll abandon. So, if this episode helped you reframe how you think about time management, share it with another ADHD entrepreneur or another ADHD person in general who is really beating themselves up about productivity. And look, your brain's not broken. You just got to find one that works for you. So make sure you leave a review for the podcast. If you got any value out of this episode at all, it is the absolute best compliment you can give. And until next time, make it simple, make it social, make it awesome.